It's Eastern, and you know what, folks? It's referendum time. What am I talking about? We'll get to that in just a second. Welcome back to the Rant Network, hosted by Mr. Stuart Brisgell and Dave Solomon, yours truly. We're just bringing you this unfiltered, uncensored conversations and on a wide range of topics. Our podcast is dedicated to giving you a platform to express your opinions, folks. Share your thoughts, experiences, ideas, and hear from a variety of perspectives. And if you didn't get it till now, very honest and frank opinions. Join us as we dive today. We're going to be talking about politics and news, but really we get into pop culture and sports and so much more. From rants about the absurdity of modern life to discussions about the deeper issues affecting our society. And today's exactly that. The Rant Network, folks, has got you covered. So sit back, enjoy it. Let's get into this conversation about what? Let's go into, Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago. She kind of buffed. She kind of assumed that the whole world was her oyster. She kind of assumed, Stuart, that she had everything made. As mayor of Chicago, she ran that place like a fiefdom. She decided that anything that was somebody against her was racist and even recently, against women. But it seems that the voters don't feel the same way, Stuart. What say you on the so-called referendum now on American mayors?
I think I want to start a GoFundMe account to get Lori Lightfoot. I want to start a GoFundMe account to send Lori Lightfoot a participation award for being a 3-time loser in Chicago. When the Dailies ran Chicago, there was crime, but at least it was with an iron fist, with law enforcement that enforced certain laws for certain people. The crime wasn't running rampant. The mayor didn't have a 3-time loser brother who was incarcerated for all kinds of heinous crimes. Lori Lightfoot was a martyr for the gay rights activists and for the defund the police. 2 issues, and being a female, all of which had nothing to do with good governance. The governance of a city is controlled by what? The mayor, the governor. That's the elected officials, the president of the United States. Your safety, right? Your ability to live free is all the responsibility of these people. When you cannot live free and you're in danger every single day, eventually the woke agenda blows up. We've already told you this for the last 2+ years, that this woke agenda is going to blow up. Woke or broke. And you know what? Walmart just pulled out of Portland. The largest retailer in the globe said our stores are not profitable. Sorry, full air quotes there. Why is it not profitable? Because the amount of theft in their stores has made them unprofitable. So they shut all their stores, laid off thousands of employees. And you know what? Even the people that live in Portland, Oregon are dying to get out. There are people that have bullet holes in their office desks. I just saw a news report of one guy who said there were 2 bullet holes right next to where he sat. This lawlessness is called anarchy. And the woke are very much like communists. They want anarchy. And if you follow the Cuban history, this is a very similar anarchy. In fact, I don't know how there's a Cuban national in America or someone descended from Havana could ever vote for a Democratic person at all. Maybe except Joe Manchin. He seems to be a moderate. Because all of these things that they're trying to bring to America are all tested and proven ways to destabilize and remove your freedom. This isn't a freedom caucus. I'm not a diehard Republican. I have a sail that blows in the wind. And again, I call myself a 1950 Democrat, which makes me a Republican. I'm sorry, Dave. And let me finish. The Lori Lightfoots of the world. Now you have Adams, New York, who, by the way, got caught busing migrants to the northern border. David, that's your border.
Yeah, well, that's
right on the heels of Montreal. He's busing those migrants. You don't hear about it in the news. You don't hear Trudeau. And you know what? This is a global awakening. This is
please stick to this. Stick to the mayor's referendum, okay? Don't talk about immigration and Trudeau right now.
Okay, so again, it's a global phenomena because even England has now passing laws, the prime minister, that anyone that hits their shore by boat will be denied asylum because all these Albanians are trying to come over to England to join Albanian gangs. I mean, listen, I can only make this stuff up. It sounds like a Orwell, an old Orwell movie. This is basically how do you destroy a government? 1984. How many other books and novels talk about how to destabilize governments? Manchurian candidates, puppet governments. You know, Biden, do you think he actually knows? Come on, David.
Stuart, you know, in your typical way, you kind of went a little off the rails here because the UK, that's a federal thing, not a mayoralty thing. But that's okay. That's Stuart.
I said a mayoral governor. I told you it's responsible.
Here's the thing. We see this in a lot of different cities where mayors are now being called finally to accountability. The accountability of having to, you know, to stop the BS of the politics. People, what do people want? Crime. We got to shore up on crime. They're tired of it. You see what's going on in Portland? Portland, it's not just Portland, it's just Chicago, it's not just New York. You're right. A lot of Democratic cities, it's a disaster. So what do we need to do? We got to vote these guys out. You know what? I know that a lot of them are Democrats, but even some of the Republican mayors are not exactly, you know, whatever. It's time to hold all of these mayors accountable for all of their actions. No more defunding police. Yes, it's Antifa antics. It's Black Lives Matter antics that failed. What we need in our cities, proper governance, security and safety. And yes, Eric Adams bust migrants. Okay, that people in New York is thrilled about. Okay, that's great. For me, what sickens me is when you have a mayor who doesn't do his job or her job, and suddenly, you know, you're like, you're scratching your head, followed by politicians. And I'm going to sidetrack myself like AOC, who proudly stands up and says, yes, I shut Amazon out of New York. I made sure that we wouldn't give away money, and I made sure that we would not give jobs to people. She said that. I mean, this is the nonsensical of governing individuals. You are looking for political points. You're not looking for safety. You're not looking for helping the people. Okay. If you look at the people in East Palestine today who are looking to their leadership today for help, they're not getting it. Okay. And it's a scary thing. I think it's finally happened. The rebound has finally happened. You know, Stuart, we talked about this for over 2 years here at the Rant Network, but it's been going on for more than 2 years. All right, this woke agenda has been going on for 2 years, and there are finally people like excuse me, like Manchin, even liberal like entertainers like Bill Maher, who are finally calling out the folks what they really are, bullshitters. He calls them out. Stuart, I don't know if you heard his piece on Friday, but he really went out again and again. He calls them out and says this isn't reality. If you like this form of government, Stuart, and I don't know if you're surfing on the web here, but like if you like this form of government, go to Nicaragua. Feel free to go to Cuba. Feel free to go to Russia and China, and feel free to go to these countries that, you know, that this is the kind of governance you're looking for. If you're looking for socialism, the United States, Canada, Western Europe, hopefully Western Europe holds to this because it seems to be slipping. They're not socialists. They're conservative socialists. There's a certain combination, but please, goodness gracious, don't. Like the mayors need to be held accountable. And Lori Lightfoot finishing third, folks, third in this election, just shows you with, I think, 14%, right? Thank God she's gone, because Chicago, and by the way, I have family who live in Chicago. They're scared. They're scared in Chicago, and good for Lori Lightfoot.
David, there's people in every major Democrat city, LA, San Francisco, New York, Austin, Texas. All of these people and their constituents who think that kumbaya, what a great idea, are now realizing that the rich are just voting in what they want and leaving. They don't have to stay there. They just move away. All these people from LA move to Florida, move to Texas. And then the problem repeats itself. Portland or Oregon and Washington blame California. For what? All the Californians that got sick of the hype in LA moved to Oregon, moved to Washington State, and destroyed their states. Again, it's going to take an awakening. It's going to take a reckoning. I think this election cycle, now you hear that Kennedy may start to run and announce and put his hat in the ring, who would be a sizable candidate. In fact, Kennedy, and I don't know enough about him to talk, and I hope by next week I'll have enough info on his legislative history. But again, if he is a moderate like Manchin, he'll have a landslide. Because all people want is to bring back normal civil politics.
But Stuart, again, let's go back to where we live. All right. And I know that municipal politics tends to be the least, there's the least interaction and whatever. But I think people are finally waking up to the fact that, whoever runs your city, and I live in a beautiful city and I love my city, but I have a mayor who doesn't get it. And she won a second term because the opposition they were so split up on the opposition was so split up. She won again, and now she's running the city again into the ground. And crime is up, gun shootings are up, and that's not the way the city works. You see,
wait a minute, gun shootings are up? I thought guns are illegal mostly in Canada.
No. Yeah, you can say what you want, but guns are here, they're prevalent, and people are using it. But it's fascinating when we watch American news and we see the select mutism in the media about which city we're going to showcase, and we're going to focus in on let's focus in on who can we upset? Let's focus in on Miami so we can make DeSantis look bad, as opposed to Portland, Oregon, Chicago, Illinois, New York, San Francisco, and LA, a lot of other cities where where people are simply frightened. I know people who live in San Francisco, for example, and they're petrified. I mean, what message does that say that cities like that, they're afraid? And you know what? They can blame all the Southern governors for busing migrants. That didn't change the spectrum, folks.
Nope.
What changed the spectrum?
But hang on. But busing migrants, this is something that was invented by the Biden administration, flying people in the middle of the night to all these states. This isn't something new. The media forgets to give a fair and balanced report. And again, back to my Walter Cronkite's history, if you don't give both sides and don't give a full story, you're just a fucking political hack.
We actually know that they don't bother. But when I'm trying to, and with this, we're going to wrap up, folks. And Stuart, I'm going to promise you, I'll give you the last word. It's really, I'm not just, the media has distorted it thanks to racism, right? They like I said, when Black Lives Matter came up, that was okay. We taught people that it was okay to burn down businesses. It was okay to destroy. It was okay to be violent. And then it was okay to defund the police. This is what spurred people on, thanks to the media, where we're at today. And the politicians jumped on that, and here we are.
You know what? I want to find the picture of every Democrat that took a knee. I want to see how many of them get voted out in the next election that aren't already voted out. Pelosi lost her gavel. Biden's going to lose his seat. I'm excited to see how many X's, with AOC willing to break every campaign rule to go to the red carpet in New York.
Stuart, once again, save something for another day.
Last word. I'm just planting all these seeds. David, time to say goodbye. Give us the outro.
Listen, that's it for today, folks. Thanks for listening to the Rant Network. We'll be back here on Wednesday, on Friday, And again next Monday, because that's what we do 3 times a week. We are broadcasting at noon Eastern. We appreciate your support. Hope you'll join us again. More thought-provoking conversations. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Remember, always interested to hear from our viewers and listeners. And hey, tell us the topics that matter most to you. Thanks again, and until next time, keep on ranting.